I kid you not. We recorded almost 15 minutes of this episode.
We
And
did.
then my internet went out. Paul tried to pause the podcast, hit a button, and we lost everything. So whatever we were talking about is now gone into the internet ether of whatever. You missed us talking about the Naked Gun trailer. You missed us talking about Francis Lawrence and The Long Walk and The Life of Chuck and my thoughts on the How to Train Your Dragon remake. All because the internet hates us.
Internet does hate us. We now have a deleted scene for 2 million Geeks on film, but it's unfortunately one we can never add back because it is
We're
lost
like an
and
episode
gone.
of Doctor Who that was lost to time.
And we can't even animate it. We don't even have the audio either. So
No, this is unreal. So I
welcome back.
welcome back again. Yeah,
Again.
well, so this is take 2 on our Iron Man 3 podcast. Welcome. We're happy to have you. To the patrons who are getting this early, thank you for your support. We appreciate and love you. To the people watching this in November, thanks for watching.
Or December,
but also
or January,
hit that link.
whatever it is. Yeah.
Whenever you get
subscribe.
it.
Join the Patreon. If you join now, you actually get to see probably a lot more of the MCU rewatch that we're on at this point, because we'll be far into the next phases.
We'll probably be just about done by the time. Yeah, like by the time if you joined the Patreon, think of all the extra content you get just of us talking about the rest of these movies. Assuming that you want that. You may not, because you might be that person who went on our Spotify account and gave us a 1-star rating. Like, and that's fine. I get it. We are an acquired taste. So thank you, random citizen, for your 1-star rating. But also, if you guys go to Apple or Spotify and you want to rate and review the show, by all means, please. Thank you. Links below. You can find it. Go.
You can
have fun.
Help us out. Help us offset that one. Star rating. Hey, I know not everybody is as into inane banter as we are.
They're probably glad that 15 minutes got lost.
I was about to say that.
It's almost like we're spending too much time together.
I know, seriously. I will recap a little bit. I will say, like, we feel like it's good to come back to the MCU. We had to put it on pause for a little bit because we're obviously the main channel right now. We are going through the Superman franchise, getting ready for James Gunn's Superman. We also had to pause it briefly because we had to go see John Wick Ballerina. And wanted to do an episode on that because that's also a franchise we've already covered. And then also we had the Doctor Who Season 2 recap State of Doctor Who episode, Big Blue Box, that we wanted to do as well. That's actually going live today as I'm recording this on the main channel, rather. So we just got really torn back on a few things in the MCU. We had finished phase 1. We're like, okay, we'll just take a brief pause. Now we're back. Phase 2 is beginning with Iron Man 3. And being back to the MCU, like I said before, it was good enough to say it then. I'll say it again now. It's like taking that warm blanket and putting it up over you on a cold winter's night. It's good to be back.
It's very good to be back. And I'm about to say something that's really inflammatory, and I'm going to get us all the 1-star reviews for this, probably. And that's fine. I'm so happy to talk about the only great Iron Man movie in existence.
You texted
I'm not
me that.
saying that the others aren't good, by the way.
Okay.
This is not me saying that they're not good.
Okay.
But this movie is great. Comparatively.
You did text me that, and I don't know if I can completely get on board with that, but I do understand it, and I will allow it. I'm not sure I completely agree with it, but I will allow it.
I look, and it's again, I like those first two. I went hardcore to bat for the second one comparative to most people. So like, this is not even me trying to be controversial. It's just I don't get hating this movie, and I'm not saying you're wrong if you don't like it. So, put down the goddamn pitchforks. I'm just saying that I don't get why people don't enjoy it, and they don't see why it's actually like legitimately so good, because it's a very good movie.
I feel like it's aging better. I do feel like some people have come around to it more. I could be wrong on that. Sometimes I read those tea leaves wrong. I'm really looking forward to the time when we get all the 1-star reviews after you guys listen to me and probably PJ as well talk about Thor: Love and Thunder. But that's in the future. That's the future. Iron Man 3, I feel like has just been underrated for a long time, but I feel people are starting to come around on how good it is. And I don't know if it's just because they're missing RDJ as Iron Man now, or if it's because they actually have sat down and gone, you know what, that twist was actually not the worst thing in the world. I don't know why I got so upset about the twist. Yeah. But we'll get all into that for sure.
I feel like there's also weird, not necessarily hindsight, and it's more of a retcon, I guess. But the idea that after Iron Man 3, they did that short, the All Hail the King short, where it was revealed that there was a real Mandarin. And then Shang-Chi went the extra mile to actually introduce the character. I think that also helps massage this movie.
Yeah.
And Marvel's always been really good at doing that. Like, if something feels like a redheaded stepchild in some capacity, like Avengers Endgame made Thor: The Dark World arguably one of the most important pieces of Thor's journey, which I never would have anticipated because I think Thor: The Dark World's actually pretty terrible. So, like, it's the only MCU movie I don't really like. Like, it's watchable.
I have to rewatch it because it's been a long time for me, but I also have always put it down on the lower echelon for sure, towards if not the worst, and down towards the bottom at least. So I don't know.
Yeah. So, like, I think there is something to be said about Iron Man 3 in hindsight being more enjoyable for people, and that's because there's like all this extracurricular stuff that has built it.
I mean, I guess I can kind of understand that. And the Mandarin is a huge Iron Man villain.
Yeah.
Huge Iron Man villain. So I feel like the fact that we didn't get, like, he was not promised, he was teased, and then all of a sudden they didn't get him. I guess I can understand being disappointed by that in a way. However, if you can just excise yourself from that feeling, it works so well for the story. It works for what they're trying to do, and that's worked off the story. So I guess in a way, I do understand some of the thoughts behind it. It just didn't bother me as much. And I'll be honest with you, and like part of the reason might be I was never a huge Iron Man reader growing up. I knew Iron Man and who he was. I read Iron Man with the Avengers and everything else, but Iron Man wasn't my go-to. So maybe I'm not as precious with the material. And it's not necessarily bad to be precious with the material, but you got to have some give and take. In this case, there's a lot of take. You got to get used to it a little bit. But I think eventually, I think you're right. The fact that we did get a real Mandarin later on definitely softens the blow a little bit. You can kind of go back and go, okay, let me see what this film is actually giving me. And that's what we got.
It's so interesting because, like, I grew up reading the Iron Man comics, but I was also, you know me, I'm not precious to things in some capacity like that. I'm always open to new interpretations of stuff. So whenever they do make like bigger changes to comic characters and the canon in the movies, I'm always trying to go with it in some capacity just because I know that this is a different take on the material.
Right.
So I'm trying to just let that happen. And take it as it is. So I kind of didn't. I guess that's part of my thing is I don't get people overreacting, in my opinion, to the reveal, especially because credit where credit's due. The stuff with the Mandarin, man, we just like went straight into this today. That's
because we missed our 15 minutes of fame there. We didn't miss talking about Paul Walter Hauser in Naked Gun. It was a great conversation we had about Paul Walter Hauser. We talked about all sorts of interesting things. I had Ed Harris talk that got in there, and now that's gone.
I know. It's all gone.
I'm so mad.
I know. I'm so bummed out.
Basically, let me, before we go, let Harris sum up. Paul Walter Hauser, great. Naked Gun trailer, great. Amazing. How to Train Your Dragon was good. PJ liked it a lot. Said Gerard Butler was great in it. I mentioned how Gerard Butler is an underrated actor because he's in such an action fare. We talked about Mark Hamill. We tried to play The Life of Chuck, how beautiful, amazing that is, because I've seen it. PJ hasn't. Mark Hamill having a great year, especially in Stephen King products. We're getting The Long Walk in September. We're looking forward to that. Long Walk, exciting. And then we might want to cover, because Francis Lawrence is directing it, and Francis Lawrence directed the Hunger Games franchise, and we're going to cover that eventually. Now we decided we're probably going to cover that because we like that series, even though I've only seen the first 4. I thought read the prequels and everything else. So yeah, that's where we are. I think that's all of it. But I feel like I'm still giving you a very Cliff Notes version of it. Damn it, internet. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that was that. You know what? This is a beautiful one-man show.
Thank you.
The only thing you left out is that Jerry B made me cry in the How to Train Your Dragon remake, but that's fine.
That's true.
Everyone's used to hearing about how I tear up at things anyway, so you know.
Me too. I cry like at anything. I cry at Life of Chuck. So there you go. There you go. Brings that around full circle.
Well, it's Mike Flanagan. Everything he's ever made has made me cry.
So good. He is such a good director.
He's so good.
Such a good director. I wish he was doing well in the box office. I don't think it's doing very well, unfortunately. I wish it was. So go see it.
I mean, it's a smaller indie movie. It's gonna do what it's gonna do. Like I'm not.
I know.
It is what it is. That movie has at least 3 MCU actors in it now. That I realize that Tom Hiddleston, Karen Gillan, and Chewie Tell are all in that movie.
That's true. That is true.
I just had that realization while we were sitting here.
Actually, 4. David Desmalkian is actually has a brief role in there as well. Nice. At least 4.
Okay, love that. Yeah. So something that I really appreciate though about this movie and the stuff with the Mandarin. And maybe this is why people don't like it partially, and I do get it. But I love the idea of Shane Black looking at the US war machine. And I'm not talking about like the war machine as in like the character. I'm talking about like how we tend to manufacture our wars. And we kind of create our own boogeyman to go chase them. And so this idea that someone who is trying to basically create a villain so that he can fund his own war machine is so fascinating and so like exactly the kind of thing that I anticipate from real life, that it really plays on a lot of like how I look at our world and the way that we have manufactured a lot of our wars. And so I've always felt like it was such an indictment on that. And so for me, that character comes off so powerful in some capacity in that way. But also something I noticed for the first time really on this rewatch is you also notice how much he's almost overacting the part of being the Mandarin.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I noticed that in my rewatch as well. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Overacting in a good way. Exactly. Because Ben Kingsley, phenomenal actor, is one of the great, one of the great actors we have in our lifetimes. Honestly, so getting him in this role was a coup in and of itself. But he really takes this role and with such a plum. And when you get that switch from the Mandarin to Trevor Slattery, wow. Wow, it's such a great switch. So much so that I think I'm glad to see that it is going to be that Trevor Slattery is going to have this presence in Wonder Man. I'm so glad they got him back for that, because he was probably he was probably one of the highlights of Shang-Chi as well, having that moment.
I was going to say he was great in Shang-Chi with that, and also All Hail the King.
All Hail the King. Yep, absolutely. And in the short that that I haven't seen forever, I got to rewatch that one as well. But
it's good.
Yeah, I do. I mean, Trevor Slattery is a great character in this. This is just an interesting film from the get-go. Obviously, going back to the beginning of it, like we usually talk about the production first, and this is not directed by Jon Favreau for the first time. We have the Iron Man that's not directed by Jon Favreau. He did produce it. Yeah, I think he was just tired at this point. He had an idea to do something else. He wanted to get away from it a little bit, but he wanted to be at least somewhat involved. He did that, and he did. Wasn't he originally going to do like Magic Kingdom or something like that?
Yeah, he was. That was the Disney movie that never ended up happening.
Right. That was the idea. That was he usually was stepping away from. But then it was Downey who reached out to have Shane Black do it potentially.
Which makes sense, because if it wasn't for Shane Black, like Downey Jr.'s career may not have started again, quite frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. And RDJ obviously had a lot of power within the MCU at this point. He was like the face of the MCU, really. I mean, Chris Evans
still is.
He still is. Yeah, he still is overall.
Well,
obviously.
Did you see the clip this morning from Good Morning America?
I have not. No, I did not see that.
So they're doing the press right now for Ironheart.
Okay.
And so they had the cast there, and the anchors like stopped, and they're like, "Oh, we actually have a message for you guys, and Downey Jr. had like sent a video being
Oh
like,
wow.
you know, like, I'm super excited for you guys. Like, I'm really glad you're bringing Riri to life. But then he like called out Anthony Ramos, and he's like, I don't love that you're wearing a green cloak. Like, are you trying to steal my Doctor Doom from me? Like, it was really cool. But like, he's still doing the thing, man. Like,
Right.
I love
I
it.
think. I mean, I think that he feels like it's kind of interesting because it's really the MCU is his, and he is the MCU for a lot of people out there. The fact of the face of it, like I said, but also like while he was brought back, obviously in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, he started like he's resurrecting his career. This is the MCU is what really kind of solidified him as back.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he had that. He had Sherlock and things like that. But this was like the moment. So I think he feels like he owes the MCU a lot, and he does. The MCU also likewise owes him a lot as well. So
Yeah.
it's a very kind of
100%.
cohesive
Well,
arrangement there.
it goes back to what we talked about if you go and listen to our original Iron Man podcast, is that that movie lives or dies on his performance, frankly speaking.
Mhm.
Because again, it's kind of barely a movie, not in a mean way. But it was 100% like almost a hangout production.
Right,
And so the movie's kind of put together by them just being them.
right.
And so they really had to lean on Downey Jr.'s performance in that.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
because of that, the MCU is born on the back of Downey Jr. being so likable enough that they put him in The Incredible Hulk. And when the movie wasn't performing like super well, they 100% put his scene in the teasers on television to push people to go see it, because they were
Mhm.
like, look, Downey Jr.'s in it. And like, they really made sure that you were aware that Downey Jr. was also there.
To your point, I mean, in a way, I wish he didn't have to, but you mentioned the Good Morning America thing this morning. There's a reason why they did that. That wasn't just Downey
100%.
Jr. being nice. That's the MCU. It's Marvel Studios saying we need Robert Downey Jr. to sell this because Ironheart, unfortunately, I'm not saying obviously it hasn't come out yet, but you've heard almost next to nothing about it. It feels like it's being dumped off by the MCU. It's like let's all right, let's just move on with this. They are backing it on Ryan Coogler's production, like as far as like they're waiting for like Sinners came out, and I was like, all right, we're gonna say Ryan Coogler's name is all over this thing. Um, but really, it feels like that they have just kind of like this is one of those projects. So obviously, we are in a time in the MCU and with Star Wars in a way where they were kind of shifting their ideas of quantity versus quality and doing things differently. But this was one of those ones that probably wouldn't have been made today. Like at this point, like the decision would have been made, like, no, we're not going to do this, but it had already been done for the most part. So they're going to not just dump it completely. They're not going to freaking pull a Zaslav, thank God. They're going to put it out there, but they're not exactly like going to do much with it. So it's also had its backlash from the typical people, considering everything going on is a typical side of things. So I think the MCU needed, yeah, what are they going to do? They need somebody to help kind of like, this is like in WWE terms, this is like The Rock showing up way back in the day at the Royal Rumble to try to put Roman Reigns over when Roman Reigns was not over. This is way back in the day now. But like, I know you don't understand that reference, but some
No, I
wrestling fans,
sure
but
don't. I 100. I do get it though. Actually, weirdly enough, because I can at least understand the idea, right, of
right,
putting someone over and stuff like that. So that I get. I
yeah,
just for you know,
right. Got it. I know
yeah,
some of our listeners will get it. Let's put it that way.
yeah,
But it is the way. Basically, Having Robert Jr. Johnny Jr. come in and say, "Hey, this is Ironheart. This is we're excited about it." Like, yeah, hoping that that'll like transition some of those fans over to watch again. I'm excited enough about it. I mean, I'm not like this is one of the ones I've been clamoring to watch. Like, I want to see Wonder Man because Ed Harris. I want to see like Fantastic Four in the movie theater because it's Fantastic Four. Ironheart's
yeah.
not a character I've ever read. I haven't gotten there in my read of the comics yet. I've never read her character. I didn't love Wakanda Forever, so like I didn't love that. So this is not something I'm clamoring for, but I almost feel bad for it because like I want people to be excited for it. If that makes
Yeah.
sense. But I mean, I'm going to watch it absolutely, and I'm looking forward to it. But it's sad, but it goes back to this just to wrap the whole thing up. It is Robert Downey Jr. faced the franchise. He's still doing it after all these years. I think he always will be. I think he'll always do it.
By the way,
Yep.
speaking of Fantastic Four, not to step on your point, did you see that they released a clip with Giganto in it?
I did see that. Yes, I did
It's
see
so
that.
cool.
It
It's
is
so
cool.
cool.
It is
I
very
I
cool.
look, I've made it no real secret. I'm like really excited for that movie.
Let
And
me
I
put
see
you
stuff like this and I'm like, hell yeah.
I'm going to put a spotlight on you for a minute. I'm going to put you in the spotlight. Which one are you more excited for, Superman or Fantastic Four?
Oh fuck. To be
Yeah, I had to
honest,
pick one.
Fantastic Four, because
Okay.
I have less misgivings about it.
That's fair.
I still have a fear that Superman is too crowded. I have not hidden that. Look, don't get me wrong. The trailers are great. Like it looks good. But I still have a little part of me that's worried. And that sucks. Versus Fantastic Four, like it looks like Fantastic Four. And it looks like the Fantastic Four that I've kind of waited for a long time on top of it. You know what I'm saying? Like Herbie is in it. I'm seeing like Mole Man is clearly gonna be in it.
Right.
Galactus is in it, like for real Galactus, not a fucking cloud. So this is to me, I've waited a long time to have a Fantastic Four movie that I could love.
Right.
I've had Superman movies that I love.
That's a
Does
fair
that make
point.
sense?
No, that's absolutely makes a lot of sense, and I completely get that.
Yeah.
I will throw the shine line back on me, and I'll say that for me, I am still looking forward more to Superman.
I get it.
Um, it's funny because like I was never a huge Fantastic Four guy growing up. I enjoyed Fantastic Four. I was always an Avengers guy. Obviously, my ticket into Marvel was Hercules and Thor, and through them the Avengers. Of course, the Avengers also had a lot of adventures with the Fantastic Four, so I kind of like glommed on to them that way, and the big Marvel events and everything. But Fantastic Four was never like my huge deal. Uh,
Mhm.
I do like what I've seen. I'm excited about what I've seen. I think it's a very unique take on the story, and I'm interested to see if it. I really am interested to see if the retro future 60s thing, if that is a benefit or if it's a detraction. I don't know yet. Like this visually, it looked great, but I keep wondering if it's going to be like a distraction and too much of like a gimmick in a way. I don't know. I haven't been sold on like whether it's going to be a gimmick or not. Depends on how it goes. But
I don't think it's a gimmick at all. I Matt Shackman did such a great job at doing throwback style stories and things like that with Monarch also.
Mhm.
That I think that he's able to, like, I don't find this gimmicky. I feel like it's 100% him going, in order to make a Fantastic Four movie that really, really pops, I need to be able to do it in a way that it's going to look like Jack Kirby. And in order to do that, you have to push it to be retro futuristic so that you can lean on that. Because I think the only way to make the characters really shine for the first time this way is by doing it this way. Weirdly enough, I think you have to lean in on it almost being camp in order for it to succeed.
I don't have any arguments against what you're saying.
No,
Not at
that's
all.
fair.
Um, I I think I have to see more of it, like in action. The trailers just aren't enough for me to say I love it. You know what I mean?
That clip of Gigant that just looked so amazing to me.
Everything has looked good so far. Everything definitely has looked good so far. So I can't deny that. I do. I love Pascal. I love Vanessa Kirby. I think the four are solid. Are very solid as a whole. I'll just see. I'll just see how it goes for me.
Yeah.
I am. And don't want to say I'm not excited about because I am excited about it. But if I had to choose one because it came out the same weekend, which one am I going to go see first? It's definitely Superman for me. But
Oh, that I get. Look, I'll say, and I know that this might be unpopular, but I actually am like so amped by July just in general because we get
mm,
Fantastic Four, Superman, and Jurassic Park. Like
yeah.
I know that it's easy to slag off on franchising and people get so weird about this now, but like Jurassic World looks super cool. It looks a little different than anything we've gotten from the franchise to this point. I love this idea, although going to another secret island is kind of silly, but I don't really care because inherently these all these sequels are inherently silly. Like the original is the only great movie. This was a conversation we were literally having last week in our fantasy chat. Like there is only one really great Jurassic Park movie,
It's the original, right?
and that's the original. Now, granted, like your mileage may vary on any one of the sequels, and that's fine. But there's only one great one. But I also am excited that the guy who wrote the original, David Kep, is writing this one.
That's a good point.
That's cool. I like that.
Cool.
And Gareth Edwards is a hell of a filmmaker.
To your point, how many secret islands can there be that have larger dinosaur creatures on it? How can they stay hidden? I don't know. But okay. No, I do like Gareth Edwards as well. I think he did a great job with Rogue One. What he did with Rogue One, I know.
Godzilla is great.
Godzilla is great. I know the creator is visually great, and I wish I loved that movie more. But
I still didn't see that. Actually, I need to.
It's solid. There's some disappointments to it, but visually, it's a very visually stunning film. Yeah. I think Gareth Edwards knows his way around a camera. So if the story, if the script is good, if the Jurassic World script is good, I will say that I am more excited about Jurassic World than I thought I would be, because how much I slagged off on Dominion. I did not like Dominion in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
And we have a long talk about that.
So what's funny about that is, like, I do get it. And I really do not blame anyone for not enjoying it. However, I do enjoy parts of it, and I would argue that outside of the original movie, it might be the closest to what I think Michael Crichton would have done with that franchise. And I say that by him having such an obsession with people using technology and science to, like, push themselves into power. And so this idea of companies and corporations trying to take control of the food chain by creating basically a virus is so Michael Crichton-esque that I've always kind of dug that in some capacity. I just wish that Colin Trevorrow didn't direct it, because I think that inherently a lot of the movie falls apart because of him. I do not think he's a good filmmaker.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I definitely don't love Colin Trevorrow. I'm actually one of the people who's very happy that he was not directing Rise of Skywalker. You're mildly very in that movie. We'll have a discussion at some point, I'm sure. But I do think Abrams is a far better director overall than Trevorrow is.
And if you've actually read the Trevorrow script, we kind of dodged a bullet.
I think so too. Some people love it. But I could not get behind that one, to be completely honest with you. Yeah. So we should transition back now, because we actually this is usually our
there's the witty banner from up top that you guys were all missing, but it was 100% a totally different thing.
Right. We went back how this began because we talked about Shane Black. Shane Black is the new director of this film.
Way off course.
Way off course from Shane Black to Jurassic World Dominion and Colin Trevorrow. Okay. But Shane Black, who obviously has had a wildly interesting career to be, obviously been around for from Predator way back in the day, to writing films, directing films. A very unique storyteller who I am a big fan of overall, honestly.
Same.
I think his film, The Nice Guys, is one of the most underrated films of the past 20 years. We should have had a
franchise.
We should have absolutely had a franchise. He's written some great movies in there, like The Monster Squad, Lethal Weapon, Last Boy Scout, Last Action Hero. He's directed Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Nice Guys. I know The Predator. I get that, but we'll talk about that eventually in our Alien Predator movies, but that's a different story. But overall, way more hits than misses for me, and a very unique storyteller. So we always get something different. And we definitely got, I might put forth that this is one of the movies that the director most made their own in the MCU, if that makes sense. Because a lot of times when directors come to the MCU, they do get a little homogenized into the MCU factory, and get a little bit of that personality taken out. That's actually pushed some directors away. I think this comes through as a Shane Black movie overall.
Well, and I think that is one of the biggest problems people have with this movie.
Agreed.
Which is weird to me, because the one thing you hear about all the time when people are complaining about the MCU is that they want it to have people that are making movies that land like as filmmaker movies, not just as people on an assembly line. So then the one time it happens, and not the one time, because I'd argue there's quite a few others, but then you do this movie and people lose their minds.
And it makes no sense to me. And I can't understand it. I don't understand. Like, I won't understand it. Like, I agree 100%. And I'm very happy that this is a Shane Black movie, because I am one of the ones who would prefer to see, like, let directors come in, let directors have their say. You can keep a story within the framework of the MCU and the framework of, like, the continuity and all that stuff, but still let a filmmaker tell the story, because that's what makes good art. That's what comic books are. The comic books that came from, there are wildly differing runs on, like, Iron Man, for example. I take the character a little bit differently, a little bit different places, a little artistic, different values of it. And I think that makes the character more interesting, and it makes it, instead of having a reboot, I mean, let's look at it this way. Thor and the Thor of the Dark World then goes into Thor Ragnarok. Taika Waititi is the one who, another filmmaker who has been allowed to kind of keep his own style, and I think it worked wonderfully for Ragnarok. I know Love and Thunder is not everybody's favorite. We're gonna get into that eventually, but most people love Ragnarok, and that's definitively a Taika Waititi film. So that's what I want to see. Even if we get misses, even if I hated Ragnarok, but I hated Iron Man 3, I'd still want to see people get to take swings at these kind of things. Give me a Del Toro Marvel movie. Give me even a Nolan Marvel movie. Give me anything, like any kind of different director who has their own identifying saga. Let them have their control to do it. There's a way you can compromise to do both, to keep it in continuity. And that Star Wars is the same way. I've been wanting to see that in Star Wars for a long time. I was happy to see John Watts taking over Skeleton Crew, Tony Gilroy doing Andor. I'm liking that we're starting to get those kind of different projects done that way, instead of the same old. Let's shake it up a little bit.
And it's good to have that. And so I think that Iron Man 3 is at its best because it is a Shane Black film.
Yes.
It is 100% that movie. And I know that that's not necessarily what people want, apparently, from this franchise, I guess. Right. But it's weird to me because Shane Black is a great action filmmaker, and he's a great action writer. He has been for a very long time.
Right.
And he also has a great relationship with Downey Jr., and it comes through in this movie, because this is the movie that, for me, as much as I like all these other appearances with him, I like this one because it feels the most personal to being a Tony Stark story.
That is the most, like, if I had to pitch this as in one sentence, it is less an Iron Man movie and more a Tony Stark movie. And that is a good thing.
It also is the point that Tony Stark and Iron Man can be the same. Like, it doesn't mean that he has to wear the suit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, but that's exactly, and it's the same type of thing we're talking about, because it's the man in the suit that's the hero. It's not the suit that's the hero. That's really that this film, like, does so much to define that. Yes, the tech is great. Yes, Iron Man needs the tech to be able to do all the wonderful things he does, but it's the man behind the tech that actually makes it all happen. That's the hero there. Otherwise, I mean, that's why there's a War Machine, James Brody, and that's why there's, like, Pepper Potts is in it. It's a different character, and that's why Ironheart is actually a different character as we're going to get to it in a way. Different characters do different things, but we get so stuck on the whole. I think a lot of people get stuck on the whole comic book. Iron Man needs to have Iron Man in the suit fighting bad guys. Yes, it does need to be there. Yes, you can't have an Iron Man movie.
And you do get that, by the way.
And you do get that, exactly. But having, like, most of the film be about, like, Tony, a guy who's been through so much, and, like, seeing his faults, a guy who's been so self-assured, a guy who's been so, like, cocky and arrogance has been his, like, thing from the get-go, got smacked down in the Avengers, got put in his place in the Avengers, got put his place in the world is much smaller than he ever knew. And he's having trouble.
I'm just a man in a can, which is one of my favorite lines ever.
Yes, and he has trouble adjusting to that, and that's a phenomenal story to dive into. That's a story I want to see about Tony Stark, and we get that in spades.
Yeah, 100%, man. And I just really appreciate that is where this movie goes.
Right.
And I really appreciate that it also. So, Iron Man is a movie about the billionaire playboy kind of having to figure himself out and realizing that what he's been doing has been hurting people. Iron Man 2 is about the sins of the father.
Right.
This movie is about the sins of yourself. and
Right.
finding yourself again. And I like that. And again, it feels like a progression for this character. Um, I also know that people get really caught up in the ending of the movie when he finally has the surgery to get the shrapnel out. And they're like, "Well, why did he never do that before?" The whole point is that he can't do it without the extremis stuff. Like,
Right.
they make that the point, and I feel like people gloss over that and
Hmm.
don't realize, like, he couldn't have the surgery without the help of extremis, like, in some capacity,
Right.
and that's what the movie is telling us. So, it's all about, like, he also finally overcomes a lot of the things that were holding him back, and I
Absolutely.
like that.
Absolutely. And I like the fact that him and Pepper's relationship definitely is put in the spotlight. We get to see more about that, how that works, how it doesn't work. And we get a lot of also like it's not even just about great film, it's about entertaining film. And this has a lot of entertaining side plots to it and subplots to it. I love John Favreau is not directing it, but he's in this movie. He has a great time as Happy Hook. And I gotta be honest, this is probably one of my favorite Happy roles. Even though it's
I think this
briefer,
might be the best he is.
it might be. His like taking over for like it's so like
Forehead of security.
it's so touching, like his desire to like prove himself and to like how loyal he is to Pepper and everything else, and like how much he takes it seriously. And yes, it gets funny because he's like a little bit Paul Blart mall copying it a little bit, but like he like, but something about it is very touching and powerful. And having Tony like show how loyal he is to him there, like when he does get
Mhm,
hurt and he has that moment at the end when he comes to him and everything else, it's beautiful all the way around, and it really this actually helps out Endgame so much that like we'll get to Endgame
mhm,
when it gets to that, but like that whole thing, Happy and Tony and Pepper's relationship all throughout have been such a important part of the Iron Man saga and the MCU saga in general, to the
mhm.
point where like how Happy Hogan was so important, he gets to be in the Spider-Man movies, like
Not just
as a
that, he's the literal first person from the MCU you see in Deadpool also,
yes,
in Deadpool
yes,
and Wolverine,
he's
because they make it the point.
right, in a way. And part of that might be a nod to John Favreau being the start as well. That might be part of it. But like at the
Oh,
same
yeah.
time, it's just that it's a very fun part. I love Happy Hogan in this movie. That makes me so happy.
I just love Happy Hogan, and
I
it
do
makes
too.
me happy to see Happy continue to be
Happy.
happy.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it just works, and I love that this character who was kind of just a whatever cameo in some capacity in the original movie has grown into something so much more as it's gone on, and
Right.
it's great. Like,
I hope he
you know
never
what,
retires. I
man?
hope he never leaves, to be honest. I hope he's always in it in some capacity.
Of all the things that they've never done, give me, like, a Happy Hogan miniseries in the MCU. Give me that. Like, that's the kind of stuff Disney Plus should be doing. Give me a Happy Hogan, like, sitcom.
You know what I want to say honestly, in a sitcom type thing, like I think some people would lose their minds and be mad about it, but I give me a Phil Coulson and Happy like trading Happy Hogan to be an agent of Shields kind of thing. Like,
Yeah. Hell yeah,
how
dude.
fun could that be? Like, that'd be so
I'd
much
watch the shit
fun.
out of that. I
Absolutely.
just it's so funny that this movie gets so much hate because
Yeah.
it everything about it for me, like, this is why I love Marvel, and this is, like, why I like going to the movies, because this is a movie that is so fun, it's so thrilling, it pushes its lead character through such a specific ringer. It is a little bit Lethal Weapon-y too, which I really appreciate because there's a buddy cop element to the back end of the movie with him and Rhodes that's super great and really,
Absolutely.
really fun. Um, and I kind of brought it up earlier, but I do love that it allows Tony to be seen as Tony Stark, like, smart scientist guy when he's infiltrating the mansion where
Right.
they have the Mandarin, because he creates all these little gadgets and things from like a do it yourself DIY like thing. And it's
Yeah.
so fun. And you're just like, this is amazing. Like, he's going through taking out all these guards with all these little fake weapons and things that he's created. Like, it's so cool. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm here for. Also, the attack on the house is one of the coolest sequences in the entirety of the MCU. And then,
I
like,
agree.
him trying to save Pepper using the suit, then calling the suit back, but like it doesn't have weapons. So now he's fighting these helicopters trying to figure out how to do it. So he's like using the piano and the thruster. Like, it's so fun.
I love that. I love the, right now.
Oh yeah,
Now.
that's great too. That's so good. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to kill you first. Like that whole thing is that's so Martin Riggs, by the way.
Oh my God, yes. Oh yes, so good. So
It's so Martin
Shane Black.
Riggs.
Shane
Yeah,
Black.
exactly. So it's just I don't really get, and I know I keep saying it, but I just don't really like get it. And maybe I don't want to. Maybe I don't want to understand why people don't like this movie.
I've tried, I've dived into it. I think part of it is this is a film that is not, while there are superhero trappings, they're definitely
Mhm.
like big time superhero action trappings. There we do the third act is still a blast, or like still big fight sequences and stuff. There's still fight sequences throughout. It doesn't fit the general formula of the
Yeah,
superhero films we've been getting in a way.
sure.
So this is, I think people are just off put by that. They didn't want to spend, they were like, I don't want to spend 2 hours with a hero who's having anxiety attacks and like having to deal with that. Like, that's not my hero. That's not my Iron Man. My Iron Man is brave and tough and
Oh,
strong.
so it's the Luke Skywalker in The Last
Last
Jedi.
Jedi, I think that is part of it. I want to say that's part of it because it feels like that's like at least part of the arguments I've heard in a way. It feels like it's like, oh, it's a waste of time. All the stuff with the kid is just a waste of time. Like, really? The
I
stuff
love all
with
that stuff.
Harley,
Yeah,
that makes the movie for me. That's what makes it a more interesting movie than
because
what we
we
got.
have a connection. It was worth a shot.
Right?
I love that entire section of the movie.
Too.
I think Ty Simpkins is actually a very good actor.
Yes.
And I really like his role in this. Also, Shane Black used him again in The Nice Guys, funny enough, because he's in the
Yes.
opening of the film.
Right. Yep.
Um, but one of the things that I really appreciate in it is that it kind of makes Tony a weird father figure. And
Yes.
I like a reluctant father figure, and I also love that, look, dads leave, we don't have to be a pussy about it. Like, that whole thing, and him saying that to a child because he just doesn't know how to interact with a child is
Right.
one of my favorite bits in anything.
Gold.
Oh my god. And you know what I'm thinking right now? Where's my sandwich? Is also amazing. Like every interaction with him is so cool, but also like Tony ends up helping him in the end. And I really love that too. When he walks in at the end of the movie and he goes back into his shed and Tony's sent all that stuff there.
Right, because he sees the kid has potential as a genius scientist and everything else, and he just loves like yeah, it's heartwarming, and
Yeah.
that's Tony is a real hero. That's what it is. Tony is a hero in general. He's not
Also,
your typical hero, but he's going to do things
the
for you like the
potato gun Mark II makes me laugh every time. And yes, you're right. Yes, you're 100% right.
I love that so much. It's so good. In a way, also like it or not, it kind of sets this. It sets it up like when Tony starts mentoring Peter later on. It's
Yeah.
kind of a similar vibe to it in a way. It's almost like this is like the dry run for that. Some people might not like that. I mean, that's why I don't, I don't like it. Now, some people have problems with Tony and Peter's mentorship. I never did. I just thought it was kind of a cool thing for the MCU to kind of make its own in a way. Because you got to understand that the MCU is not Marvel Comics. Marvel Comics
Yep.
had years to do things. They also had issues galore to do things. They have like thousands of issues to comics to kind of develop these things. The MCU, even when it's pumping out the most, is like a film or two a year, and it's like you only have a limited amount of time with these actors and with these characters, so you got to take risks and put things together a little bit. They're going to slice things up a little bit, and they take the best and cherry pick some of the best times with it and make up some of their own time as well. It's a different universe. You got to get that through your heads like right away. This is not going to be your comics universe. This is the MCU. It's slightly different, and that's most of the time for the better, I think.
Oh, 100%. And that's what I was saying earlier is that part of why I try to enjoy these as they are is because of that. Like, yeah, you might take certain things from it, but make your own version, right? Like
Right.
Thor Ragnarok is very cool because it takes the Ragnarok story in one direction while also tying Planet Hulk in some capacity. And so we're not getting like a straight Planet Hulk story. And I think that's kind of cool. Like, allow it to be what it needs to be. So Iron Man 3 doing that allows us to see this character go through stuff that you may not necessarily have seen before. Using the AIM storyline and the Extremis storyline the way that they do works in this capacity. Like, I like it a lot. Is it exactly like the comics? No, and it doesn't need to be.
Absolutely, 100%. So what do we think about where we begin Iron Man 3 and where we end Iron Man 3 as far as Tony's journey goes? Because I think that's the most important part of the story. I feel like that it was a necessary leap. If we had taken Tony at the end of the Avengers and jumped him straight forward to, like, say, Avengers 2, I feel like we're missing so much of the story that it just feels like we need to have him go through this down period, as it were, in order to come out the other side. And I feel like that's what I think is most important about
I especially think because in Avengers, he's kind of faced with such an external crisis of this idea that he is not these other things. Like, he says it in the movie. Again,
Right,
he's just a man in a can. Like, he's been hanging
right.
around literal gods and a super soldier and a dude who turns into a giant green rage monster and all these things, and he is just a man in a can.
Man in a can, man in a can.
And so this him working through that, this PTSD because he almost dies, and this is a guy who years before that, he would have never sacrificed himself,
No, that was
right?
actually the big piece. Yeah, that was the big piece of the Avengers that we mentioned because he was not.
Right,
I mean, Captain America even calls him out. You're not that guy, and yet,
right, because Cap would throw himself on the grenade.
right,
So this idea that Tony has to go through that is really, really great. I think that we should push characters. I've talked about this before. It's part of why I love Dial of Destiny so much. I know that people like joke about me bringing that up on here so frequently, but like the truth of the matter is part of the reason people don't like that movie is because they don't like what it does with that character. But I think it's important to push characters through their darkest points so that they become the people on the other side that resemble the person that you knew. That doesn't
right,
mean that they're going to be exactly the same because your characters should be allowed to evolve.
right. That's what's true. I mean, their argument's always going to be, well, this is fiction, so our heroes should remain our heroes, and blah blah. Blah. There should be no. I mean, that's if you want that, that's fine, whatever. But I think you are missing out on tremendous storytelling if you allow your heroes to go through these dark journeys and to, like you said, evolve in a way. Like, and I agree with you on Dale and Destiny completely. I think he comes out the other side. He's still heroic Indiana Jones. He still has his like moments of Indiana Jones dish, but like, yeah, he's gone through a period where he has to kind of fight with that, discover what that means as he gets older. In this case, Tony's got to discover what that means as he's all of a sudden not the big fish in the pond anymore. He's like, all of a sudden he's the big fish on the pond called planet Earth, but all of a sudden there's this whole other dimension out there with gods and aliens and creatures that could wipe the floor with them, and he's got to like come to terms with what that means. And he does come out the other side and tries to do something about it. Now you could argue later on that maybe he didn't do exactly the right thing, and creating Ultron ends up not being a good idea, partially, somewhat, but like it becomes a crux of storytelling. And I think it's a good storytelling way to go. So I
I
love this.
100% agree, and I also think it creates tension with him and Pepper in an interesting
Yes.
way because he doesn't really wanna deal with it, and
Right.
yet he's working all the time, he's creating all these extra suits and all these things. That whole conversation where he's like, "When you go to bed, I come down here and I work. It's
Right.
the only thing I know," and then he's having nightmares of it enough that he accidentally calls the suit, and the suit attacks Pepper. Like,
Right.
I think all that stuff is just such an interesting idea because it's gotta be so hard to be a character like that, to be a man who thought he knew everything, who could control everything.
Right.
You
The
know what
guy who
I'm
comes
saying?
out, he comes out and gives the terrorist his home address away. He's like, I'm Iron Man. I'm gonna,
Yeah,
you can do whatever you do, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And again gets attacked. He's like, oh shit. Yeah, I just effed up. I just put Pepper in danger. But anyway, like this is not, I gotta just rediscover who I am and what I can do in this situation.
yeah, 100%, man. It works, and it works well. So, that stuff is great. Now, I will give you that as much as I like Guy Pearce, and he's very good in this, Aldrich is not, like, the most interesting villain.
Yeah.
And that continues to be the downfall of most of the Iron Man films, is the villains are just not really that interesting. And that's
Right.
okay, right? Because Iron Man 2, as much as Whiplash is boring, we like Justin Hammer. So
Right.
this movie, you may not like Aldrich, but you do like the Mandarin until it's not the Mandarin.
Right.
So
then you like him more if you're a cultured person.
Right, correct. But that's beside the point. They go a step too far also with him like breathing fire. That it's dumb. It feels very unnecessary because that also doesn't add anything.
No.
But I like the idea that Tony created this villain, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
that's the thing that works. Because to this point, Tony's villains have come from his father's past more than anything. Hammer is just like the Walmart discount Tony. Like he's just a rival. Tony didn't create him, but
right.
Aldrich he created.
Definitely created. Absolutely coming from his suit. That absolutely. I will throw it in here now. I'm not throwing it in here now that it's impressive how much I like this movie, considering I am not a fan of Guy Pearce. I have never been a fan of Guy Pearce. Like I don't know any role I really love him in. I stomach him in Memento. I stomach him in every role he's ever been in. I've kind of stomached him in. I think the best he's ever been for me has been maybe The Count of Monte Cristo, maybe.
I mean, that's definitely the reason I like him is because of The Count of Monte Cristo, if I'm being honest.
That's like the one I'm like, okay, he's good. But like I just never, I don't know what it is about him. I just never liked him very much. And yet despite that, I love this film. Because it ends up becoming, and I guess the truth is because the villain is more of a catalyst. Tony's not really fighting Aldrich; he's fighting himself in this movie.
Right.
That's the important part of the movie. And then maybe that might be why this isn't a superhero film this time, because you have to have the villain that they're fighting. It's a big. You don't need this big like momentous villain in order to fight, because you got to overcome his own thing. And Aldrich is just a catalyst. And I will say that the third act, the big explosive fight with all the suits. To be honest, it's a little over the top for me. It's a little bit over the top with all the different suits.
I kind of love it though.
I have fun with it. I have a blast with it. Like I'm saying, like as far as like everything else goes, it's almost like it feels like Shane Black is like kind of overcompensating a little bit for the rest of the movie in a way, trying to overcompensate a little bit with it. So your miles may vary on that as well. But I don't love Aldrich, but I do love the shell that is Aldrich. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't mind Aldrich because anybody could have played him,
right?
In my eyes, and that so it wasn't like I needed the actor to make Aldrich work. Aldrich is just a shell of a villain anyway. That's all I needed is a shell of a villain for that case. If that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense, and I 100% get it. And I think that when this movie shines, it's because everything else around it is so good. Yeah. So I'm a lot more forgiving to the fact that like Aldrich is just kind of there, like. That said, I think Rebecca Hall is awesome. I really like the Maya Hansen character. I think that I wish we had seen more. Originally, I think she was supposed to be the original villain.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, that was the case too. But I do think she's very underutilized here as one of my drawbacks in the film. I really think they could have used her more. That's because she is such a compelling actor comparatively. I like what she has to do versus, again, I prefer her to Guy Pearce in every way, shape, or form. So having her on screen, I was drawn to that story more. In a way, she does help me get through Aldrich as well, though, because at least it's something that I can kind of glom onto.
Same
in a way. But
she's just always a good presence. I like when she's in anything. I think she's very talented.
Yes,
if you didn't see The Night House, I really recommend it. It came out a couple of years ago. It's a great psychological thriller. I think she's amazing in it.
I agree.
So, yeah, like if you've never seen that, please check it out. She is so fucking awesome in that movie, and that movie's it surprised the shit out of me when I saw it, because I thought it was going to be like a fine thriller, and I ended up being on like the edge of my seat the entire time.
Same. I was loving every bit of it. I couldn't wait to see what was going on next with it. So I think she's very talented. I know she produced that one as well. I would love to see more from her in that vein, to be honest with you. Obviously, we know her in Godzilla and Kong and everything else. She does well in that as well. But yeah, no, she fills her role in Iron Man 3 very well. I just kind of wish there was more of her.
Well, I think she even said this, like she did sign on for a different movie, basically, and then somewhere along the way, because we also have to remember this is back when that Marvel creative committee thing still existed, and so they were able to overwrite a lot of what was going on in the movies because that wouldn't go away until like right around Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
So because of that, unfortunately, roles for women and people of color frequently were reduced because of the hands of people like Ike Perlmutter. So that, I'm sure, played a part in why her character was rewritten, which sucks because she didn't deserve that. She should have 100% been in the movie more, but it is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There was a lot of other characters in here that were kind of cool and additional. Like,
James Badgedale's so good.
James Badgedale is great in this. William Sadler as the president's a great idea there. I like Miguel Ferrer as the vice president, who ends up becoming a big important part, even in a limited role. A lot of great, like, small. Adam Pally's in this. I kind of forget that he's in this.
I love him. Tony needs Gary, and Gary needs Tony.
So good. So Shane Black, by the way, too. It's such a Shane Black like moment for sure. I love to get to see. You mentioned in your text, we get these like small glimpses of like Jenna Ortega. Corey Hawkins is in it.
Yeah. Jenna Ortega said she actually had dialogue, I think, in the movie too, that was initially cut as well. And she's so young. She's so young.
She said she's not going to do an MCU film now because of that too, or something like that.
But she says it more like tongue in cheek. By the way,
I know.
No. I'm just making sure that we tell people that because there were people who were like very serious.
Fuck her. I'm saying, really? People can. It's okay. It's okay.
Also, Sean Taub returns at the beginning of the movie because you see Yinsen, which I love because it was the throwback to the line where he goes, "You don't remember meeting me."
Right. I love that idea too. It's such a smart way to incorporate like the continuity in the canon as a way. Actually, you knew him then. I wrote at the beginning, like that was my first note I wrote. Like, interesting that they actually showed the meeting of Vince that we know.
Yeah.
This is going later on. Perfect.
Also, can we talk about how Happy Hogan has a mullet in the flashbacks? That is the funniest thing in the entire world to me. Happy Hogan straight up has a mullet.
Thank you for writing it that way. Actually, I wrote down quick note in shorthand. All I wrote was 90s Happy. But so good.
90s Happy. I thought that was the most hysterical thing. I had forgotten about it. And I saw him on screen. I was all, oh my Lord, that man has a mullet.
He is so funny throughout. Like, I can't. I know I already went a whole thing about it, so I'm not going to go on again, but I cannot stress how much I love Jon Favreau in this movie. It just makes me smile.
Good, dude.
He's so smile. So.
He's just so good. He's just so good. And I know we keep saying that, but like he's just so good.
I really want to see him do more. To keep going, because he's like, I love the fact he's not. You don't ever have to commit a lot of time for him. He just kind of comes on, does his thing, and leaves. That's it. That's all you need from him. Another thing that's important in this movie and important throughout the entire Iron Man saga so far, and honestly the MCU, is Tony and Pepper's relationship, which is on full force again, and is again a highlight of this film. I cannot stress how great their chemistry is. RJ and Gwyneth Paltrow really work magic in this. They just bounce ideas off each other so well. They have this timing that's hard to capture. And I don't know, is there any other relationship in the MCU that has like
no? I mean, they were
that time. I mean,
they were trying with Jane, obviously, but it never really got there with her and Thor in the end, which was kind of a bummer. But like,
there's Cap and Peggy, but that kind of it's hard to do because of times and everything else. But yeah, there's something magical about Tony and Pepper, and like they've never been able to replicate that. I mean, you say Chris Pratt and
Gamora,
Gamora, but that also has been reset also, so it's not the same.
You know what though? That one works, and it makes Guardians 3 like real good. The we'll get to that obviously, but their last lines of dialogue together are so great. That relationship might be the closest. In all of these, it's really, really good.
I mean, I guess it also doesn't hurt that like Iron Man obviously had the longest to develop it, so like he had a bunch of movies to get with Tony and Pepper, and what films have had that? Guardians at least had Guardians, and the Infinity movies at least to do something with. I guess with the advocacy of Disney Plus series, you could kind of do that a little more. You did a little bit more Scarlet Witch and Vision. When we get still get more of that, I think potentially with Vision Quest. However that goes, I'm not sure yet. But that's actually what the Disney Plus series should do, is really kind of before some of these relationships and build them out a little bit more. Although we're getting less of them now, so I guess it's kind of too late. Head away.
Yeah, in some way, huh?
Yeah, in some ways. But I do think that is a key component to this film, because throughout we have, you mentioned it before, obviously Pepper struggling with what she's doing as like the head compared to like what Tony's doing. Like Tony's obviously like an absentee kind of figure in almost everything. He just loves to be in that basement tinkering. I love the scenes when Pepper comes home and like it's the Iron Man suit and Tony's downstairs, but he's like interacting with Pepper just through the suit, and she knows right away that he's not in the suit. Like calls him out on it, going back to the basement and everything else. There's a lot of cool bits there, but the ending is where it works. Like the whole thing where we think we might lose Pepper briefly,
right?
Works.
Scene's really good, actually.
It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, because it actually, like, you don't usually kind of go, well, you're not going to lose her. You're not going to lose this actor here, like whatever, yada yada yada. But in this case, it was the third film. I think I don't know if we knew this was going to be the last film, but it was kind of purported to be the final Iron Man film potentially.
They said from the beginning that it would probably be at least the last Iron Man movie. Not that it would be the last time we saw the character, but like as far as solo movies went, this was going to be the last one.
So losing her would make sense, not make sense, but like it'd be kind of like this could happen. It would be believable at that point. So it really kind of set it up. And then having her come back and kick ass at the end, even better. Sometimes the ins and outs of that kind of relationship can be grating, like not the will, because not a will they, won't they, but it's more of like a make up, break up. They kind of do have a lot of that, but for whatever reason, because of them specifically, it just works. You know, they're gonna butt heads and have their moments, but you know that they really deeply care for each other and they're gonna come back to each other eventually. And that's really the core of those movies, honestly. Tony and Pepper, that's my what I'm gonna put forward anything. That's my statement, is that Tony and Pepper's relationship is really the core of these three movies.
100%, man. No, I mean, you nailed it. It's 100% accurate. And I think that at the end of the day, and like Gwyneth Paltrow is such an interesting person, and she doesn't even really remember how many of these she's been in and stuff like that.
That's
but
funny.
They have to credit her. She shows up. Even if she doesn't really want to do these movies, she shows up and she's awesome in it. And I really do think that her and Downey Jr. are just really, really wonderful together. If they are not this good in these movies are not nearly as fun to watch. You know what I'm saying? Like they make and break. Like their relationship would make or break these movies.
Absolutely. Luckily, it's brilliant.
Yeah, 100%. We haven't brought up the plane sequence, and I gotta say, man, that plane sequence is one of the most thrilling things in the MCU. Everything about him jumping out of the plane and catching people and go, you guys remember that game as your kid, Barrel of Monkeys? Like that whole thing. God, it was so good.
It is. It's filmed so well too. I feel like you could do that, and if it's filmed poorly, it becomes just kind of a bore. But like, I felt like I was with them. I felt like I was right with them watching that. My heart was like, I was like, oh my God, watching it. I feel like I was joining the Barrel of Monkeys with them. It felt so intense and so vibrant and so like alive at that moment. Yeah, it is a great, great sequence for sure.
100%, man. Like I don't know. It's also the fact that they actually were throwing people out of the planes, because I think they did the take several times.
Yeah.
Just to get it right. But it is like really, really adrenaline inducing. Even at home, like not on the big screen, like on my television, I still find it thrilling. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
like that's
absolutely.
Fun.
Absolutely. So good. I love the idea that like the usage of having War Machine turn to Iron Patriot, which is what I meant before, kind of thing. That's such a different way they do it in the comic books and a much darker version of that in the comic books. But I love the fact that Rhodey's part of this film is that he has to be like, because he's always been called Rhodey's like he's the other Iron Man, the replacement Iron Man, the whatever. It's always been Rhodes' kind of like drawback, not drawback, I guess in a way, but they knock on him because like, oh, James isn't Tony, he's just the wannabe Iron Man. And in a way that they play into that. And like, because Iron Patriot becomes like this wannabe Iron Man in the story in a way. But getting him to get out of that at the end is actually a good way to push forth the War Machine character as well. It's the corporate versus the rock star in a way, and it's an interesting way to differentiate between them for sure.
100%. Cheadle's really good in this.
Yeah, he is.
I wish that he had a little more to do. His when he finally sees Trevor, and he's getting so irritated by him, and he goes, "Tony, I swear to God, I'm gonna shoot this guy in the face," is one of my favorite moments his character has ever had. I think he's so good. Also, 100%. Another little Shane Black thing is someone being interrogated, and he'll stop doing it. Stop doing what? Because he does with the gun this time because it's warm, and he puts it against his ear to like burn him. But I just love that it's a little Shane Blacky.
Yes, absolutely. There's so much Shane Black in this, like I said, and I maybe if you don't like that, maybe you're just not a Shane Black fan. That could be it. But I don't know, man. I just don't see how you could not like this, like all the Shane Black is in it. It makes for such a fun, engaging moment. It gives heart to the film. It gives depth to the film. It gives these characters like that we've known for a little while now. It gives them a new angle that we get to look down without compromising what has already taken place. So, it's just so well done.
It is, and I think that's honestly the whole movie. As weird as that sounds, like we could go in circles about it all day, but the truth of the matter is I actually think this is just like a really good movie with a really solid script. It's got really great character work. It feels like it builds off of everything we've seen in the MCU to this point with all the different characters. Like, it works. It's good. Love that William Sadler is the president of the United States, by the way.
Yes,
I think that's so much fun. And then, of course, Miguel Ferrer as the vice president.
Yep.
Yeah.
Again, more important part coming at the end there. He gets to be, I mean, you almost know he's got to play a bigger part when you got him in that role. He's got to be something at the end. And he really is something that's really kind of cool. I like that quite a bit.
I do too, man. Like, I just really like this movie. I really do. And I continue to really like this movie. And look, it's fine if people don't want to like it. I get it. Again, it may not be for everyone. That's fine. But God, does it work for me, man.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoy it. Also, the button scene at the end for the post credits where it's Tony has been telling this story the entire time to Bruce Banner, and Banner slept through it is arguably one of the funniest bits of anything in the MCU. I think it's really, really funny.
The full Mark Ruffalo for that post credits tonight. That I'm like, that's brilliant. That's so.
Yeah.
I'm not the kind of doctor, Tony. And Tony's like, whatever. I'm gonna say the whole thing. He starts over. I'm like, oh my god, it's so good. It's so good.
It's so good. The Science Bros are just my favorite. I love them together. And so that moment is, I'm not that kind of Dr. Tony. I just think it is hysterical. It's just so good.
I love the fact that it's a Christmas movie. Speaking of Shane
Black.
Black.
Of course, because Shane Black
loves Christmas movies. I keep forgetting that Iron Man 3 is a Christmas movie too, but Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas.
It's Christmas. Take them to church is one of my favorite lines. Like, that, again, the third act gets a little like, or that big battle at the third act, your mileage may vary because it goes from like buddy comedy action thriller to straight up this crazy mishmash of all the suits attacking the different extremist warriors. But I don't mind it. Like, it works. And there's a lot of I like the different mocks all kind of running around, and I love that we see like the early Hulkbuster. I love little things like that. Is there a little bit of CGI overload? Yes, absolutely. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But it also has some great moments, like you talked about it earlier, with Pepper potentially dying. Like that stuff is really good, and it really works.
Yeah, I really love that aspect of it as well. I do think, like I said, I did say over the top, and it's almost over the top because it just becomes so not confusing is not the right word, but like it's so chaotic. That's what it is.
It
It's
is.
so
It's definitely
chaotic.
chaotic, no
There's
doubt.
so much going on. There's so many suits coming on. You're like, you lose track of what suit's doing what and everything else. It's like, wait, whoa, how many? And it loses a little bit of that personal touch. It's like almost like I understand, like, well, Tony keeps fighting him, but in a way, I guess as I'm saying this, it does reinforce the argument that it's not the suit, it's Tony, because like Tony
Right.
can go through all these different suits left and right. It's like it's Tony who's doing the fighting. He's like, oh, suit one suit's gone, next suit. It's not the suit, it's Tony. So I guess it does reinforce that in a way. I guess I'm making my own point there in a way. But,
you are. You sure are, and I love that for you.
So I guess in retrospect, I do like it a little bit more because of that aspect of it. But I can completely understand why people would be a little bit like their eyes could glaze over a little bit during it because it's just so much going on. But
also,
but yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No,
go ahead. Please.
I also want to shout out Brian Tyler. It's the first time that the Iron Man movies finally have like a real theme and real music, and it is so good. I love the Iron Man 3 theme. I think it's so good. The Can You Dig It theme is awesome.
It is a banger. Yes, I do love that entirely. It's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, the best thing about this film also, and it's a Shane Black film, it's like the lines of dialogue, like the quotes, like there's just so many quotable moments in here. Like it just lines that like just showcase character in a great, fun way. Shane Black is a great dialogue writer. It's a great dialogue writer. Some people are good storytellers. Some people are good. Shane happens to be both, but he is a great snappy dialogue maker. One of my favorite lines of dialogue, the whole thing. Brand comes out, I was like, "Is that all you got? A cheap trick and a cheesy one-liner?" Totally just goes, "Sweetheart, that could be the name of my autobiography."
It's so good.
It's so good.
There's just all sorts of little lines throughout the movie, again, that are just so good.
I love
this is why you don't hang around my ex-girlfriends.
I need your login. Same as always been. War Machine 68. Password, please. I gotta change every time you hack in, Tony. It's not the 80s. Nobody says hack anymore. Give me your login. War Machine rocks with an X, all caps.
And the terrorists laughing about it makes me laugh every single time. And then the little gun pops up.
Iron Patriot.
Yeah. Oh, dude. It's again, this movie, man. It sings. I'm sorry, it does. Like front to back for me, it sings. I love it. It's so good.
I mean, I even think that they even address the switch of the Mandarin fake out, because Rhodes actually comes up and says, "This is the Mandarin," and Tony's like, "I know, right? It's embarrassing." Like that's to tell you, like this is exactly like I don't know.
It's so good, man. It's so good. Like it just is. It just is. I just love it.
Yeah. And it's got heart. Like the best comic moments only work because there's heart to it as well. So like when you get like Happy in the hospital after the explosion, and like I never really thought we were gonna lose Happy, but like it was still like tough to see him down and out. But then you show Tony there, like talking about like put Downtown Abbey on, make sure it's on when he gets up. He loves that show. Like
I love that whole
it's these like little touching moments like that work so well and make you care about these characters. Like you want to have a beer with these guys for sure. Love it. So good.
So good. Oh, I loved you in A Christmas Story is one of my favorite also one-liners in the movie because the little kid comes up. Oh, it makes me laugh. Well, and it's especially funny because he is in Iron Man.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
So it just makes it so much funnier. I loved you in A Christmas Story, by the way.
So good. So good. Yeah, I don't know, man. Anything else you have to say about it?
I think that's it. Like, to the shock of no one, we really like this movie. It's just so fucking good, dude.
I mean, we understand. I think we all both understand like the drawbacks and some of the criticisms. We don't understand why they make people dislike the movie so much. I guess is that's the angle we're fighting on. Like, yes, it's not perfect. Yes, there are definitely drawbacks to the film itself. But overall,
and yes, they've definitely retconned it along the way to make it more 100%. Palatable for certain people.
100%. But like, if it works as a film, and this does, then you can kind of forgive those drawbacks. Like you can have two films, and if they could have the same amount of like drawbacks or like criticism you can have on both of them. If one film works despite them, and one film might not work, they might sink the film. These drawbacks never sink this film for me at all. I'm never finding myself going, oh God. I'm like, I don't like that, but let's focus on what's going to come up next. This is good now. This is fun. This means something to me. So yeah, I highly enjoy this film, and despite its drawbacks, I know I'm going to give it a high score, which we're about to find out about at this point, because it's time to rate this franchise and rate this entry into the franchise. We always scale things on a scale of 1 to 11 here on PLD Projects. We always turn things up to 11 here on PLD Projects, especially with the sequel coming out this year. One of the greatest movies of all time is Spinal Tap, and the sequel to that coming out.
Can't wait, by the way.
Can't wait either. So let's talk about what we had so far. I always like to recap for us. Iron Man, the original, we both gave an 8. The Incredible Hulk, I gave an 8. You gave an 8.5. Iron Man 2, I gave a 7. You gave an 8. Thor, I gave an 8. You gave an 8. Captain America, the First Avenger, I gave a 9. You gave a perfect 11. The Avengers, we both gave a 10. Iron Man 3, where does that fall for you?
People are going to be so mad.
Okay.
10.5.
Wow, 10.5. That's solid. Wow, that's even more than me.
I fucking love this movie, dude.
Damn,
I fucking love this movie.
I'm so happy for you. I give it a solid 9. I still think I like the Avengers more overall because of what it means to me, and I love the combination of things. I still feel that one does a little bit more for me, but this is my favorite non-Avengers MCU movie so far, neck and neck with Captain America: The First Avenger. Solid, fun, artistic. Everything about it is it's just a good film. It's a good film. So,
yeah.
All right, we have one more ranking to do now, and then we got to rank the Stan Lee cameo.
It's whatever. It's such a dumb cameo.
It is a dumb cameo. Is this your least favorite, you think?
Yeah, easily. I feel bad saying that, but like it's just an unnecessary and like just boring cameo.
I agree. For we still have the deleted Avengers being our favorite cameo, or non-cameo, technically speaking. But Captain America. Then for me, Iron Man, then Iron Man 2, Thor, the Avengers, Incredible Hulk, and Iron Man 3. PJ, deleted Avengers, Captain America, Avengers, Thor, Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk. So, and then Iron Man 3. So there we go. That finishes out Iron Man 3. We love it. I hope you did too. And if you didn't, we hope you love it maybe a little bit more, or we'll go back and take a look at it again with some of our thoughts in mind. And maybe
you'll enjoy it more. I wouldn't be the first time I've had people actually like listen to our stuff and go, man, you really changed my mind on a thing that I really thought I didn't like. Heard a lot about Crystal Skull and Dial specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. I have heard the same as well. A couple of films like that as well. So hopefully we can keep doing that more, because we like to be positive here. Positive on.
We try our best, at least.
We do.
Unless you're fucking Halloween 5 and Annabelle. and or Superman 4, which arguably still might be the worst podcast we've ever done.
Like, if I wasn't so negative, or if I wasn't so positive, rather, I would almost love to have like a maybe I will someday. Maybe one day we'll do it just a Patreon exclusive that never goes live on the main channel, where we just like have our least favorite films we've covered, top like worst 10 we've ever covered, kind of thing. Just for the fun of it. I wouldn't want to put it out there publicly, but like throw it out there just for the Patreon.
Superman 4 will still be the worst, because it's going to be the one that we 100% have. There will never be a movie lower than that.
I think you're right. But I would maybe like to make it scientifically clear.
Fair enough.
But that'll do it for this week as far as that goes. Iron Man goes. Next 2 weeks from now, we'll be back at it in the MCU, covering Thor: The Dark World, which is going to be an interesting one for us. I really am looking forward to rewatching it. I don't know if I ever rewatched it after Endgame. I think I must have, but I feel like I haven't watched it much after Endgame's
I really haven't.
Contextualization of it. So I'm wondering if that'll change things for me at all, especially after a lot of the Thor stuff's gone down and everything else. We have to see, because we do have our boy in it. We do have Chris Eccleston in it.
It's true.
He's
barely in it.
He is barely in it. I know. I'm looking for some good things. For The Dark World. That is next on our MCU rewatch. If you're on the Patreon and or on the membership, then you'll look forward to us returning to Superman next week, continuing our adventure down there. Batman versus Superman Ultimate Edition we're going to watch and react to or review, I guess, next week on the show as we get ready. Got that. Zack Snyder's Justice League. And then Superman. That's it. That's the last three, right? I believe that's it. We're done for the Superman
that's it.
stuff.
We're almost there, man.
Yeah. And we got a lot of our cool stuff coming up. We're going to do Men in Black and Ghostbusters in a one season kind of run. We're going to do, obviously, we're going to do the Kevin Smith View Askew movies as well in the future. We talked about it in our deleted scene up top. We might do the Francis Lawrence, mostly Francis Lawrence Hunger Games saga as well. A couple of them we talked about doing at one point or another, and we might just have to do a few more. But only so much time in the day, folks. There's only so much time in the week and the years. But we have so many films we want to cover. So let us know in the comments though what you would like to see us cover. If there's a franchise you would like, I'm not gonna guarantee we're gonna do it, but it'd be interesting to see what you guys would like to see us do. Yeah, PJ, where can the folks find you?
You guys can find me wherever social medias are sold at PJ Campbell. Usually over on Blue Sky mostly, but I've kind of walked back over to the bad place a little bit. So if you haven't, you can find me there, or as I said, Blue Sky, and Instagram. Yeah, and here hanging out, doing the thing.
Blue Sky is my preferred choice as well. I have made an appearance on their place as well. I just like to keep a track on some people that I keep in touch with some people who didn't make the migration over. So, it is what it is. But I'm also here over the podcast here. We're doing some more stuff here. Myself and Maddie Gunner do Holy Snokes, a Star Wars podcast, which is changing its schedule a little bit. We haven't been on in a while, actually. Been a couple of weeks off. We should be returning soon on that one. Review. Just finished up the 2009 V. We are going to go into some alternate films now, as well as we continue on and doing the Big Finish stuff and the comics and books there. And let's see, Class Action. I do a lot of podcasts. You check out the channel. I'm all over the channel. That. Like, subscribe, patreon.com/PLD Projects if you want to help that way. If you can't, I get it. But it always helps us fight the evil algorithm. That's always welcome. And the comments, share, all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, that'll do it for us this week, folks. We will see you next time here on PLD Projects, here on Two Middle-Aged Geeks on Film. Peace out, everybody.